And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on Cincinnati's Bearcat Journal. I don't know where that came from. Go to Hail Mary's. They are in Cheviot on Harrison Avenue. They're in the Dora District, so you can walk from bar to bar with your drinks. Or maybe you're looking to watch The Crown on Thursday night. Go to Hail Mary's. They got 27 TVs. The Bearcats will be on the 9-screen video wall. There's not a bad seat in the house. And they have a brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines. And not only do they pour the coldest Cincy Light around, but they do so in 32.8 degree beer frosted glasses. I guess we have to get into a little bit of the Crown to kick this thing off. But an interesting article today from a guy I think is probably the best sports journalist in the game, and Dan Wetzel, talking about NIL and the shift that the NCAA is apparently going to try to embark on. Once the House settlement is approved, it goes to the judge, I think, on Monday. They, go back and forth on what the plans are to get to the settlement. Then it'll go into effect, as long as everything goes as planned, on July 1st. And Wetzel had a great article talking about a lot of the things that you and I, Aaron, have talked about on this very show over the past year plus 2 years that this has kind of been down the pipe. So we'll get to that in a few. But yeah, the Bearcats and the Golden Knights, Aaron, you were at a 0.5 interest level in the first round game against DePaul. Now the Bearcats get the Knights of Gold, minus Keyshawn Hall, who just committed to Auburn this evening. Bruce Pearl. Are they going to have to turn another plane around?
Look,
at the start of next season?
Got them to the Final Four, and maybe you keep doing what worked.
I will turn this plane around right now. Still a talented UCF team. Like, make no mistake, this is a game Cincinnati should win. But the second, third, and fourth best players for Central Florida will be there. Darius Johnson, Jordan Ivan Curry, Mustafa Thiem. Thiem is a 7'2" freshman, super athletic, kind of a maybe an advanced young version of Aziz Bandago. So that should be, again, an interesting matchup between the two teams. But any thoughts from you on the Bearcats and the Knights of Gold tussling tomorrow night at 7 p.m.?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I'm far more interested in this game than I was against DePaul, because UCF has been kind of put in a situation where they've become a rival. Largely because of the Twitter fanatics. And I use that phrase not loosely, but very directly, because UCF's Twitter people are crazy people. They're absolutely crazy people.
For some reason, they are no longer in my mentions. Maybe I've muted all of the ones. It seems like they've died down a little bit of late.
I think it's because they're trying to do the same thing. They're spread too thin right now. The Big 12, there's a lot of people you have to go at if you're trying to get under the skin of the Big 12. With the American, it was far more concentrated. But UCF fans are still crazy people. That said, Johnny Dawkins versus Wes Miller, UCF being kind of at the same place that we are at without the history. You don't want to see that. You cannot lose to UCF if you want to continue to elevate this program. This would be a very – I know where we're at. I know it's the Crown. I get all of that. But I think it's still a fairly large feather to place in the cap if you're Johnny Dawkins, as opposed to the feather that Wes Miller would get in the cap. It's a little different. I think this game probably means more to Johnny Dawkins and the UCF program than it does to Cincinnati, which makes it mean more to me as a fan, because I don't want to see UCF have that skin.
Any advantage? Yeah.
No.
Makes
I
sense.
mean, so look, they don't have the same roster that Cincinnati has, in my opinion. I think that on paper, and we talked on paper far too much this season than actual
Right.
what was on the court. But on paper, this team should truthfully win this entire tournament. You continue to play the way that you did, by and large, against DePaul, then yeah, you should be able to handle whatever UCF throws at you, especially if they're playing without Keyshawn Hall. That's a giant piece to be missing, and take advantage of it and do the thing. And I think I'm at about a 2.5. I think
Nice.
I've risen up. And if we're talking about playing championship basketball, even if it's April, even if it's in the Crown, a game that you cannot bet on for reasons I'll never understand in Las Vegas.
There are some sports books, I think, that I wonder if they got the certification or whatever they needed done. There are some sports books picking it up, I've heard.
Well, that's a day late and a dollar short at this point.
Sure.
But figure it out and win the damn game. Do what you were supposed to do all along. Like this, I know that we don't like moral victories around here. I don't like them. I don't think you like them. I don't think that our fans like them.
Yeah.
But I think that winning this tournament is still something to give you momentum going into next season and give you at least a better talking point even to bringing guys here. Look, my team was in shambles and I still was able to rally the guys to figure it out.
Yeah. You know, we know this UCF team does not want to play a lick of defense. They want to get out and run. They want to put you in isolation situations, especially with Darius Johnson and Jordan Ivy Curry. Those two guys they're not as good as Keyshawn Hall in those, one-on-one situations, but they're still very good isolation one-on-one players. They want to pick which matchup they think is best and then attack that matchup. I think it's a little bit more suited to Cincinnati because I think Day and Jizzle can guard those two guys. Cincinnati didn't have Keyshawn Hall 6'7" and a tank. Like him playing downhill with aggression. And that's a guy that he's shot 244 free throws on the season, Aaron. 244 free throws.
Feels like he
That's
shot
insane.
400. Feels like he shot 444 threes.
Actually, no, he drove a lot more than you think. Darius Johnson's the one, and Ivy Curry are the ones that fire away at will from three. Johnson took 210 threes on the year. Ivy Curry took 184. Keyshawn Hall took 127. Keyshawn Hall was the guy that wanted to get it and just bully Jaron Cumberland style. I'm going to get it with a head of steam, and I'm going to the rim, and we'll see what happens along the way. Except he did it in a time period. I mean, imagine how much more Jaron would have scored if they just didn't call charges like now. Like he had to play cautious because teams were just standing there grabbing their nuts and hoping Jaron ran him over. Don't have to do that anymore. But anyhow, they want to play fast. The biggest question for me for Cincinnati, are you going to be able to put the ball in the basket? Because that's what they did down there. Is they were terrible on offense for a month. And then they went to UCF and it was the 84 or whatever they scored in that game. Was like, oh my God, they played offense. Like this is a good matchup for Jizzle and Day. It's a good matchup for Dylan Mitchell, especially with Keyshawn Hall out. So I think the Bearcats win. I think they should win pretty comfortably. We'll see how it goes.
When they played in February 5th, they won 93-83. This was a team that allowed Cincinnati to put up 93 points. So I look for Cincinnati to score. I would think if everything is coming up Cincinnati as it did against DePaul, then you're scoring 80 plus easy. You just got to continue to pressure the ball and figure out ways to get steals again. You got to block shots, and you've got to rebound the ball from jump.
Yeah, that was actually Aaron's favorite game of the year because Cincinnati only took 16 threes. The entire game was just downhill attack.
Sings to my heart.
They were 33 of 49 on 2-pointers, 67.3% on 2-point baskets in that game.
I don't want to get into the stat broadcast, but I wonder how many layups and dunks there were because, my goodness.
A lot. There was a lot. Let's get to this Dan Wetzel article. In this world of we're going to revenue share, it's going to start July 1st. Along with revenue share is this new policy that they are going to bring in to make NIL, quote unquote, true NIL. They are bringing in the auditing firm Deloitte to authenticate the NIL deals. Everything over $600 has to go through this vetting process. And then if they think that you're outside of the confines of this, meaning you're getting paid $20,000 for something that the market share is $5,000, then they're going to have an outside commission that's not part of the NCAA that is going to be leveling sanctions against schools. There's an audit process.
This is stupid.
Yeah, the whole thing. I get Mike Babinski, who we all hate because he used to be the AD at Xavier. Mike Babinski had a good line on it where he said, we've arrived at sort of a tipping point for the enterprise as a whole. We're either going to suck it up and just take a little medicine and get it right for the long haul, or God knows where we're going here over the next however many years, and none of that would be good. I think we have one shot to try to get this thing, and so we've got to do it. We've got to do it. But you know what the other interesting quote in this article was, Aaron? Came from Nevin Shapiro. Do you know who Nevin Shapiro is?
The guy from Miami.
The yacht guy from Miami.
The money guy from Miami. Yeah.
Yes. Nevin Shapiro said, "This is not the way to regulate this. I applaud them for giving an effort, I guess, but this is not practical. There's 1 million ways to circumvent it."
So this is stupid. And the reason it's stupid, they even pointed out in the article, is they're basing all of this on the fact that they think that the coaches are so over all of this NIL stuff that they're going to just adhere to the rules. Okay, sure. Right.
As if the coaches at the schools with all the money are going to be like, no. We don't want that money.
The big picture here, though, is the fact that this whole thing is still working under the facade that these are student athletes, which we're past that. No one needs to try and pretend that they're student athletes. So why are we trying to hold these athletes to a standard that this is not pay to play? This is, you get the NIL money for doing things, and we're going to regulate what those fair market values are. Throw it all out the window. What does it matter? Why are we trying to police something? It is pay to play. Call it what it is. That's what they're doing.
Well, what they are essentially saying is the pay to play part is the rev share. We're paying you to play based on rev share. And then NIL is supposed to be in a name, image, and likeness related.
This is the people with money, and the people that are still were the ones that were way back when this whole thing started, had their head in the sand, that refused to budge, still trying to control the situation. And you've lost control. It's been gone. Stop trying to police this thing. It's well out of your hands. It's been out of your hands. You cannot get it back. And this seems like a desperate cry to try and get that back. It's a waste of time, energy, and resources to hire this other company in to try and police this thing and audit. And what are we doing? Why?
Here's my question in all of this. How in the hell are you going to determine
You can't.
fair market value
You can't.
when every market
It's
is
different.
insanely different, especially in college sports? Like in pro sports, every city is a major market, right? Outside of what? Like Green Bay. Green Bay would be the one that's not like a major market in
Yeah,
all
there's
of pro
houses
sports.
next to the stadium. Yes.
Yeah. Like Green Bay, it's not a major market, but everything else is a major market. In college sports, every market is its own entity, its own animal. So, what, and I know people are looking at this going like, fair market value in LA is going to be significantly higher than fair market value in Tuscaloosa. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I think it could easily be argued
The other way.
having a USC football player advertise something in LA is going to get lost in the shuffle of LA, of everything
Right.
that's going on in LA.
Sure.
If you get the quarterback or the star player in Alabama to advertise something for you, your restaurant or your car dealership or whatever, that market value is going to be significantly higher in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to me,
Well,
because
who
you're
are
going to
you
get
to
more return on investment on that money.
who are you to be the arbiter to tell somebody that what you want to pay somebody, even if it's a McDonald's All-American girls basketball player to come to your school and be the face of your franchise? Maybe you love college basketball that much. Maybe you have daughters. There's so many different stupid things. Maybe none of it matters. You just want to see a championship come to your school. Who cares what the reason is? If you're willing to pay that and make them the face of your business, that's your dollars to spend. You cannot tell somebody that they're not worth what somebody else is willing to spend. None of this, again, none of this makes any sense. The toothpaste is way out of the tube. It's smeared all over the mirror. It's on the counter. It's in the sink. You cannot clean it. It is there.
I mean, this is a great, like, there's the challenge, back to the article. There's the challenge of figuring out whether a player is being paid the proper amount for a deal. A deal that might seem too generous to say Caitlin Clark before her junior season at Iowa turns out to be a bargain. And it's the same thing we've said for years and years and years, Aaron. You are worth what someone is willing to pay you.
Always.
If someone wants to pay you $100,000 to advertise their car dealership, that is their decision. It might be a bad decision. It might be an incredible decision, but it is their decision to make. And here's the hilarious part of this, Aaron. Deloitte and the new enforcement group say they plan to provide information about what variables they will use when assessing a fair range of compensation for each deal, but they don't want to reveal the exact formula due to fears that some parties will try to manipulate the system if they know exactly how it works. What kind of crazy shit is that? We're going to be judging you on a formula, but we're not telling you the formula. Well, then how do I know what I'm being judged on?
Because there is no formula. They're just
Right,
making shit up as they go.
Yeah,
The same
yeah.
the same way they put in teams every year into the NCAA tournament, the same way that we're going to see the same thing happen with the college football playoff, because we got rid of the computers, because that was a science and you could actually see what they were computing for all of that. We can't be having that. It's people trying to relinquish the power that has been taken away from them, and it's going to continue until we just tell people stop.
The end of the article. The possibilities for funneling money to players is almost endless and virtually impossible to police. You might as well give it the name Green Light Go, Shapiro said. Is this even realistic? No.
Well, even
It's not.
Patino didn't like it. The Purdue coach didn't like it. There was several guys.
Well, that was my favorite part of the two sentences back next to each other. Matt Painter is like a do it by the book guy. Like Matt Painter is pretty.
Yeah.
They don't really mess with the transfer portal. From what I know, their NIL money is not like they're doing NIL, but they're not buying players. They're just making sure their guys get good money in comparison. Yeah. Matt Painter says we have zero trust in the system. Bill Self says, I think enforcement will be very hard.
Yeah.
The guy that's been cheating
Weird.
relentlessly for his entire career is like, I don't think they're going to be able to catch us.
And Kelvin Sampson had a great point: is you want to keep everything on the table. You don't want to go back under the table. Which, truthfully, if you're going to try and we're going to police you on this algorithm that we've come up with, that a formula that you'll never know. It's super secret. You're not the CIA. Stop it. What are we doing?
It's so dumb.
It's unnecessary. Pay the people what you want to pay them and let that be that. If you want to get to a point where you want to try and actually get this thing back under control, it's going to take, truthfully, it's going to take unionization of the players, and it's going to take contracts. And that will fix everything. It's going to fix everything, or at least what's currently ongoing.
Here's the problem. The only way you're going to get to unionization is if you make them employees. And the NCAA will go down the sinking ship if they have to turn them into actual employees and give them benefits and healthcare and insurance and all of those things. They want no part of it. They will die on the vine trying to prevent it when it's just as simple as make them employees, treat them employees, collectively bargain.
Correct.
And then go about your business. But they don't want that. That's the nightcap. We'll see you tomorrow after the Bearcats take on the Knights of Gold. Brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!